And we know this happened last week. Social media went down for an hour or so, or however long it was. So had that been, maybe a whole day or a week or a month, or maybe Mark Zuckerberg woke up and said, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore, and just press the delete button.
Yeah.
What is going to happen to your business?
Like, I have all the power and I can shut this down.
Yes. And if he did that, you know how many businesses would literally go out of business almost instantly?
Yes.
So many people would go out of business. So many. Or what's going to happen is they'll try to find money to get a website or just make something out of nothing, and it's not going to be helpful. You want to be above the fray.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Wisdom and the Tangents podcast. This is a place where I bring in other photographers, business owners, creatives, experts, and we talk about photography, we talk about business, we talk about all the systems and workflows that go into creating a successful business and share that with you. Today, my guest is Octavia Elise. She is a show it website designer. She's a HoneyBook Pro and business educator, and she is also the host of the Success on Paper podcast. And she is on a mission to help other small business owners transform their websites and their workflows to build that foundation, like a strong foundation in your business so you can have success. And that's what we're talking about today. We're talking all about websites. We're talking about creating an elevated user experience for those viewing your website so that you're captivating and they want to stay on your site. And also, she gives some tips on how you can move them toward from being just a viewer into a lead and a potential client. So this is packed full of so much great info. I'm just going to go ahead and get into it. Here's my conversation with Octavia Elise. Octavia, welcome to the show. Welcome to the podcast. I'm really excited to get into websites, web design, and all of the things to attract our target clients.
Yes. Hi.
Yeah. Thank you for being on the show.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is going to be fun. Yes. I know this is a topic that I hear from a lot because I do coaching with other photographers, and a lot of it is just like, I don't know, I just bought a template and filled out this stuff, and I don't really know what to do with the whole web design thing, and I don't know what to do with the copy on my website. So I'm excited to dive into that. And before we do that, I like to ask questions that I just asked the listeners to send in some questions. So awesome. One of those questions is, what is a destination or location that you have traveled to that you would love to travel to again?
Probably. What else? I probably would say Punta Cana. I enjoyed it.
Okay, yeah. I have not been there.
Yes.
What did you really like about Punta Cana?
The blue ocean. The blue ocean. The water was so blue. I mean, it's just like how you see it on the in the magazines or on like social media. It was so blue, so pretty.
Yeah. I forget where it was the first time that I saw water that blue, because I'm like, here in Texas, we have the Gulf of Mexico, which is very brown and murky.
Yeah.
And I think it was maybe Riviera Maya or something like that. And it was just blue, clear water that was just I was like, oh, it actually is like this. It's not just the postcards. They didn't Photoshop that and change the color or anything. This is what it looks like. And it's so, I mean, I am so much a water person. I love anything water. It just calms me down and makes me happy. So
it's funny. You guys can't hear it, but my Alexa automatically comes on at 10 o'clock my time. And so, and it plays, I used to do ocean sounds, but now I do thunderstorms because it gives the illusion that it's raining. And of course we all sleep better in the rain.
Oh yeah.
But, funny story is I love water, but I can't swim.
No,
can't swim at a lick. No. I remember the photographer asked me to do underwater, some underwater photography. And I was like, sure. I didn't know you had to know how to swim to do that. So I
You're
was
like,
telling,
we're like knee deep, right? That's the underwater
yeah,
we're doing.
I had no idea. So I was talking to my best friend, and he was like, "Oh, like he was like, no, you can't swim." And I was like, "Why do I need to learn how to swim?" Like I was like, "I just go underwater and then I come back up." And he was like,
Yeah.
"No, you're going to die." And he was very concerned. He's like, "You need to cancel this immediately. Call
Right.
her right now and cancel this session." And I mean, she understood. I was like, "Hey, I didn't know you had to learn you had to know how to swim." And
Hmm.
I just, yeah,
Yeah, that's so funny. Like
yeah,
I can just like picture you with like one of those like big inflatable tubes,
yes,
just
that's
like
me.
there and just like flipping over under the
Yes,
water, just flip back up.
yes, that's me. I would totally just drown just because I would panic.
Yeah.
And so I went on my first cruise this summer, just or 2 summers ago now, and it was very terrifying because one, I
Yeah.
can't swim, and two,
Hmm.
there is a lot of water. But I made it through, and it was the best week ever. But yeah, it's on my bucket
Nice.
list though. I will learn to swim before I turn 45.
Nice. That's a good goal. I like that.
Yes, yes.
Did you go on a Disney cruise?
No, I just went on a regular Carnival cruise.
Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
Cool. I
Yeah.
don't know. I just figured, you're like huge Disney
Yeah.
fan, but I know that those are
So
like
they're
very
crazy
very
expensive,
different.
yes.
They're very expensive.
So
Yeah.
I am going to go on a Disney cruise to on my 45th birthday. I'm going to go do the European. I think it's 8 days. Do the European cruise, and I'll probably do some other things there. I want to go to while I'm there. I want to go to the Paris
Yeah.
Disney. So I have this
Oh
whole thing
yeah.
planned for my 45th birthday. It's going to be a whole
Yeah.
shebang. Like
That's
it's
gonna be fun.
Yes, so I've already started saving. I have a 45, like account,
Oh yeah.
because I want to go and just enjoy it and not have to, like count pennies or be on a budget.
Right. Not be like,
Yeah,
okay, well, I didn't have as much as I was hoping to. It's just like, you know
exactly.
what? This is a whole different account. I don't even have to worry about bills.
Yeah, yeah,
This is just
exactly.
fun money.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that.
Hmm.
That's so
Yeah.
fun. Okay, well, cool. Well, Octavia, could you give us a
Hmm.
little background about you, what you do, all that kind of stuff?
Okay. The first thing I always like to share with people is that I am a yawner. Okay. So if you see me yawning, just know it's a thing. There's nothing wrong. I'm not tired, but for whatever reason, as soon as I get on camera, I start yawning. So
I
just
noticed that earlier whenever you were talking
yeah,
about the thunder sounds and you yawned a
yes,
little bit. I was like, yeah, I'm
yeah,
kind of feeling that with the thunder
yeah,
sounds too.
but I'm not tired. It's literally when I turn on the camera, it's.
Hmm.
But as soon as I turn it off, I'm like it. I don't know. My doctor has tried
Huh.
to like I try like therapy and try to make it stop, and it doesn't. So, anyways, but that's the fun fact about me. But I am Octavia Lease. I'm based here in Atlanta. I am a show it website designer and a HoneyBook Pro. I enjoy helping small business owners, especially photographers, really, really have a solid foundation so they can have business success.
Yes.
I'm a Disney adult. I am a boy mom of three. So I have a 25-year-old. I have a 18 and 16-year-old. So I have big kids. Like they're not
Yeah.
little. They're huge humans that eat all my food. And I have a dog and a cat. But I'm a pretty simple person. And of course, I'm a Disney adult. But yeah, I just enjoy working with other small business owners to help them get to the next level. Honestly,
Yeah.
yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. I love that. And I love like, you're going to be helping us get to the next level with our website
Yes,
today.
yes.
So like, I know we kind of briefly talked about this
Mm-hmm.
early on in the intro of just like elevating your user's experience on your website. What even
Yes.
is a user experience for the listeners that are just like, I don't know what that is. How do I even do that?
The user experience is really it is exactly what it sounds like. It is the way your visitors experience your website when they're going through it. The biggest thing I think I try to tell people is, it is now 2024. We are all
Mm,
very impatient people. I call it the popcorn effect, right? We all want things like instantly.
oh yeah.
So you want to keep that in mind when someone is, experiencing your website. So as visitors are going through, you don't want it to be 20 clicks to get here, 30 more clicks to get there. You want to reduce friction for them deciding to say, hey, I want to work with you.
Hmm. Oh yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I love that's one thing that I've been working on like the last probably 5 years is just anytime that I see any sort of friction, I'm just like I need to
Hmm.
smooth that out because
Exactly.
like when there's friction, there's a really good chance for them to just leave. Because I don't know how
Yes.
many times I've been on a website and it's taking like half a second too long to like
Yep.
render this image, and I'm like, you know what? It's probably not that
Never
great.
mind.
I'm out of here.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing for me is pop-ups.
Oh
If
yeah.
there is a pop-up on your website, I know that people, that's the thing, ask for people's email address. No, first of all, especially now, most people are really protective of their email address. So no one
Hmm.
wants to just give it out on nilly because they're afraid of being spammed. So when I go on a website and that's the first thing they're like, "Oh, give me your email address," I'm like, "You clearly don't value my time, and I'm not going to work with you." Like that. That is one thing that drives me bonkers.
Oh yeah.
When I, as a user experiences someone else's website, I'm like, okay, goodbye.
Yeah. I feel the same way. I had one on there for a while, like
Hmm.
years ago, because
Hmm.
I listened to some
Yeah.
podcast and some expert out there was just like, I get hundreds of thousands of new email
Hmm.
subscribers, and they have a huge platform, and people go to their website to gain information for that kind of
Hmm.
educational stuff, which is
Yep.
I think a better way to use a pop up if you're going to use one. But
Hmm.
like just for like for me as a wedding photographer, having a pop up on there, I found it very annoying
Yes.
as a user, and also just kind of cheapens the brand because
Hmm.
it's just like it's always like popping up with like, hey, you can get a deal if you give
Exactly.
me your email, and it doesn't feel as like as luxury or high
Hmm.
end as you would want your website to feel. So yeah,
Yep.
I,
I
I'm
totally
I'm
agree.
with you there. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. It definitely, for me, it definitely lowers the brand quality and the price point that we think things are supposed to be at.
Mm,
I just feel like I don't know, it's icky for me. It's just icky. Like, let me get to know you. Let me know what you're about, and
yeah.
then I guarantee you, if your website is built correctly and it is built to convert and connect, I guarantee you they will give you their email address by wanting to work with you and giving you
Hmm.
money. And that's how you do that. See?
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. So, how do we do that? How can we build it so that we can convert and not just like have a
Hmm.
site?
Let's see. There's so many ways. Let me count them. Okay.
Okay.
So, the best thing to do, of course, is we always want to pay attention to our homepage. When it's your homepage, it's typically the page that most people will land on when they go to your site, right? So, you want to make sure that there are call to actions all over the place, meaning buttons, and that it
Hmm.
actually looks like a button. I am a huge component of having all my buttons the same color throughout my entire client experience, not just on my website, but even with my CRM. So they know exactly what they're going to look for. Every
Yeah.
time I'm talking to them, I'm like, click the yellow button, click the pink button, right? Making sure that there are plenty of them at bare minimum. I'm going to use Show It for an example since I design on Show It. Each section is a canvas. So there should be a call to action on at bare minimum every other canvas. There needs to be a way for them to contact you because the last thing you want people to do is have to scroll or figure out when the last time they saw a button to
Hmm.
decide, hey, you know what, I want to work with you. Because again, like we said, with the popcorn era, they will just leave. They're
Yeah.
not going to be like, oh, I mean, for me, that bothers me the most is when I'm like, oh, this is great. And I can't find a button again.
Right. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like whenever I scroll down, I'm like, okay, now I gotta, especially like those really long home pages
Yes.
where it's just like
Yep.
everything is on there. I'm like, okay, so I
Hmm.
saw that button like 5 minutes ago. Now I gotta
Exactly.
scroll all
Got
the
to
way back
scroll.
up, and it was the same color as normal text. So now I gotta
Yep.
like
Remember
read
what it
everything.
was exactly. You got
Hmm.
to remember what it is.
Yep.
Another big thing with that is making sure that the buttons are actually clear and concise, that it actually says what's going to happen when they click this button. A lot of
Yeah.
times, especially as photographers, we'll say book now, and in
Hmm.
actuality they're not booking now, they are literally trying to contact you. So you have to find new ways and snazzy ways of saying, contact me now. But then again, old tried and true, contact me now works.
Yeah.
If you think about when we are at Target or on Old Navy online or whatnot, I'm just saying those two because I shopped there this
Right.
week.
Yeah.
Um, but the buttons all say add to cart. They don't
Mm-hmm.
have to think of 500 ways to say add to cart. Sometimes simplicity goes a long way. We want to be cute and do all these things. I try to tell people avoid like jargon and cute things,
Yeah.
because just keep it simple. I promise you, it will have a higher conversion rate than anything that you can think of as cute or super clever. Because then people just get confused. They're like, I'm not sure what this is, so I'm just going to leave.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I was on a site recently, and instead of like contact me or get in touch or something like that, it just said I'm in, and I was
Hmm.
like, I don't. Do I click this? Where does this take me? And it was just like
Yes.
it was confusing, and I clicked it, and it was where I wanted to go, but still, it
Hmm.
was just like that,
The
confusing like
uncertainty.
uncertainty, and I don't know if I want to click this, and how do I know how to
Hmm.
get back if this isn't the right link,
Yeah.
and all of that. Have you ever learned something that you feel like you learned way too late in life? I feel like that guy from Instagram who's like, here's something I didn't know until my 30s, because here is something I didn't know until I was in my 30s. Your savings account can actually make you money. And I'm not talking about like traditional savings accounts that are making you like 0.01 to 0.3% interest, just pennies. That's pennies, people. I'm talking 1.5 to over 4% interest. It doesn't sound like much, but if you're talking numbers, let's say you have like $5,000 in your savings account for taxes at the end of the year, that's the difference between accruing $15 and 200 extra dollars. Now, this is a high yield savings account. I've talked about these a few times on the podcast, but now I have partnered with SoFi to bring you a little extra money. Whenever you start your free high yield savings account through SoFi, they will deposit an extra $25 in there for you for free. That's literally free money. And yes, this high yield savings account is just like a normal savings account where you can access your money. You don't have to like wait for 7 to 10 business days until you can get anything out. It's a normal savings account, except you're making more money. So go to allheartphoto.com/SoFi. That's allheartphoto.com/SOFI and let your money make you money. Like you said, we try and be a little bit too cutesy a lot of
Yes.
times. And I definitely, like my early years, it was
Of course.
terrible. I back in like 2010s, Jim Carrey had like this crazy like Flash website.
Yes.
So all the links were just like
Mm,
hidden things, and you would
yes.
just like wait until the cursor changed into the pointer or whatever, and just like, oh, this is a link, I'll go here. And
Hmm.
I loved Jim Carrey, and I was like, I'm going to do that on my website. And it was a terrible decision because
Yeah.
no one knew where to go. No one
Yeah.
knew that these were even links.
Hmm.
And it's kind of like just like throwing someone into a maze and just being like, all right, figure it out. There's
Yeah.
probably gates around here somewhere.
Yeah. We'll see
and
you later.
and yeah, instead of like having giant neon signs of contact me, go to my portfolio page,
Hmm.
like that kind of stuff, where they can easily make it through the whole maze of your website
Yeah.
and not get lost.
And that's a huge thing because a lot of times I hear copywriters, they'll post all over social media, oh, different ways to have contact buttons. And
Hmm.
it's like, it's really great and they're really cute. But like you said, when I click I'm in what? Is that going to make me pay right now? Like
Right.
exactly what's going to happen? I try to tell people, imagine if these were all 4 and 5 year olds going to your website. Like, if you think about it that way, you will make it a lot more simple, and that way
Hmm.
everyone, no matter where they are in life, they can navigate it pretty well.
Oh
If you
yeah.
ask me, I remember I was on a website. There was this lady. She's having a conference, and I was like, "Hey, this sounds like a great conference." I don't know how long it took me to get to. First of all, there was no pricing on there. You had to actually go to the cart to do pricing.
Mm.
So I'm like scrolling, and I'm every time I clicked a button, it did not take me to the checkout page so I could see how much it was. It just took me further down the page, and I was just like, and it was a long sales page. I just got so irritated. I was like, you know what? I don't even want to go anymore. If
Yep.
you're giving me this much friction to decide if I want to go to this conference, I don't want to do this anymore. So
Yeah.
there,
Yeah. How do I know that I'm going to have like a smooth experience in person?
exactly,
Like,
exactly.
this is what you're presenting online. I don't know. I don't know if I want to do in person now.
Mm-mm. No.
So yeah, yeah, and like there's that saying, like, if you confuse, you lose.
Mm-hmm.
And if you confuse your user and they're on there trying to figure out how to book you, where's your prices, and they have no idea where to go, then you're losing them, because that definitely loses me.
It
I am
does.
out quickly.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Okay. So good call to actions,
Yep.
and like a good concise. This is where we want
This
you to
is where you're
go.
going. Yep, this is where you want where you want people to go. So here's the
Mm,
thing. I try to tell people, if you keep it under, at bare minimum, keep it under 3 clicks, maybe 4 or 5, but that's it. They should not have to click more than 3 times, no matter where they are on your site, to get to the contact page. And I'm
mm,
gonna even include the contact button on it. But let's just play. If they're going to your portfolio, so if they're on your homepage, they go to your service page, they go to your portfolio page. They should, from portfolio page, they shouldn't have to go back to the service page to go to the contact page. They should just be able to go to the contact page, on any page on your website. And then they click, boom, 3 or 4 clicks, and that's it. Somebody, like I said, if you got to click 10 times to try to get there, you've probably lost them. Especially now, like I said, with the popcorn, most
mhm.
visitors are maybe giving you a minute or two on your site for them to be like, hey, yay or nay.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah,
want to
because
make sure you're utilizing the time.
they've got a list of other people they need to check out too. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Would you recommend like having more than just like your top level navigation where it says like contact me, but like on your portfolio page or on your services page to have a button, CTA to your
Yes.
contact? Is that what you're saying too?
Yeah.
Okay.
So most likely, you want someone to be able to go straight to the contact page, no matter where they're at on your service page or any page in the journey on that page. Whatever
Mm,
journey you're taking them through, likely, if you're asking me, it should be a story type thing. So as you're taking them through that journey, I really want you to focus on, hey, making sure that they can actually contact you at any point. That's why I said, at bare minimum, every other section, if there's a contact button, it goes straight to the contact page, regardless. And even, let's just say they make it all the way down to the bottom of the page for whatever reason, right? Most people won't make it that far. But if they do, the last section on every page that I build, the very last section before the footer, is a ways to work with me. Basically, it goes to the contact page. It says, like, are you ready? Something super simple that doesn't need to be 5 paragraphs. Just like, hey, are you ready? Let's connect. Go to the contact page.
yeah.
Schedule a consultation. Whatever it is that you want them to do, it's always there. And I like to even take it a bit further with the navigation at the top, making sure that it's top on scroll, which means it stays at the top even when people are scrolling. So they
Mm,
don't have to go back up to get to another page. Like, say I've looked at enough on the service page. Now I want to go look at the portfolio page. And I haven't made it to that section on the page, or maybe you don't even have it there. I just want to be able to click that menu.
yeah.
So I like when the menu stays there.
Yes. Oh yeah, me too. Because there's too many times where it's just like, okay, I gotta scroll all the way
All
back
the way
up,
back up.
or maybe I think that I'm closer down to the bottom, and I
Mhm.
scroll down hoping that there's links in the footer, and then there aren't, and then you got to go all the way back up.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm a big fan of keeping that like static where it
Yeah.
scrolls with the
Yep.
page.
Yep.
So yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, you've talked about like the journey
Hmm.
and in guiding the user, your client through your website.
Hmm.
Are there any like certain stops on the train that you would recommend, like we put first, or any sort of order for that?
Yeah. So I'm a huge fan of Donald Miller. He has
Oh
this
yeah.
great book, Building the Story Brand.
Mm,
And so in that book, he talks about making sure that you talk about like whatever their main pain point is, you just want to drive that idea home that you're the person to solve that. So for me, I'm an only child and I don't have any parents. They're gone. And so heirlooms matter to me, prints matter to me.
mm,
So if that is important to me and I'm your ideal client, your website is going to constantly be talking about, what it's like to not have prints and how valuable they are.
yeah.
So that's basically how Donna Miller just explains it is, you want to make them the hero of their story that they've decided to choose you, but you want to talk about what their pain points are, talk about how you're the solution to their problem, like how you're going to solve their problem. Give them 3 things that they are going to get no matter what. You're going to get heirlooms. You're going to have a fun session. Great communication. Whatever those 3 top things that you want to be known for when it comes to your client experience. Not those 3 brand words that people was using for a while, but the 3 things, the tangible things that you're going to be able to offer your client that sets you apart. You want to make sure those are there. Talk about how you're similar to them, how you're different from other people, because people connect with people. So we want to know that, hey, I understand. It's the thing of like, hey, I can connect with you. We're here. We both like Disney. We both have dogs. We both have cats. Most of the people that follow me or that end up hiring me, they like Disney, they like dogs, or they like cats.
Oh, yeah.
And they've chosen those 3 things out of my life to be like, oh, or they're like, oh, you're a boy mom. So I understand. I know you understand what it's like on a day-to-day. So it'll be easy for me to work with you because we have some similarities. So making sure that you talk about how you're similar to someone. Tell them the transformation that they're going to end up getting once it's all done. So basically, you are honestly just driving home the same idea. There is a top thing that they are experiencing, some pain they're experiencing. Like I said, mine would be heirlooms. And you're going to find 5 or 6 different ways to tell me the same thing over and over again. I want to be told. And then, it starts to resonate. And a lot of times people are, when they're writing copy for the website, they'll say, oh, it sounds like I'm saying the same thing over again. Yes, you're supposed to be. You're just going to keep reiterating that. It's just like when we send emails to our clients. We want to make sure those important things, hey, you don't get a refund. Hey, you don't get a refund. Or, hey, you need to do this. Whatever that is, you want to make sure that they constantly get that information. Same concept on your website. You're driving home this issue that, hey, they have a problem. I'm here to solve it for you. After I solve it for you, this is what your life is going to be.
Yeah. I'm glad that you mentioned that because, like, it does sound or seem redundant a lot of times and just very repetitive and like almost annoying. Like, oh, I'm talking about this again. And, but like, we, like you said, we live in that popcorn culture of maybe they scrolled past the first 3 times that you mentioned that.
Yes.
And now they're reading it for the first time. Or maybe this is the time that actually like sticks. And they had to see it multiple times until they were like, oh, heirlooms. Yeah.
And you're going to present it in different ways, right? You're going to have, on this section, it might be, a bullet point, a list of my pain points or things that I'm going to get. In this section, it might be a paragraph. In this section, it might be a paragraph and a picture. This one might be a scrolling gallery. So there's so many ways that you can display that same information so that they can get it because, of course, all of our visitors are different. And with them all being different, we want to make sure that we are reaching each one where they are. You got to, meet people where they are. Like this person might be visual, so they maybe need, more pictures or a video. It just, it really varies. But at the end of the day, you want to just kind of drive home the idea that, hey, I'm the person for you and I'm going to make, this thing happen for you so you don't feel this way. Instead, you now feel this way.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's good to remember is like, so many people are very different. And like, there are so many different buyer types and they're not all just like you. Because for me, like it's super easy to write copy for me and to put a website together that would catch my attention. But my target client is not always going to have their attention caught the same way that I would. And I love that you like mentioned those, like the different with the bullet points and the photos and like the paragraph or like the large text, like kind of hero type thing. And it's going to, one of those is going to catch their attention. So that's so good. Okay. Awesome. With this whole thing, is there like a next step, like for the listener who's like, okay, Octavia, I definitely need to do this. Where can I start tomorrow or today even?
Where you can start, that's such a loaded question because there are so many places.
It's a loaded,
it's a loaded question just because it also depends on where you are. But one of the biggest things I've noticed, especially with photographers, which is going to sound really crazy, the best place I would tell you to start is to go hire a brand photographer. Okay, let's say this again. Go hire a brand photographer. It makes a difference. Invest in yourself the same way you want people to invest in you. it makes a difference. I'm telling you, I am constantly building websites for photographers that have no brand photos. Like I've had some sending me selfies while they were at the laundromat. Like literally, the laundromat is in the background. They're like, "Oh, here's a headshot photo." I'm just like, "This is no. First of all, you have a $3,000 camera. Okay, at bare minimum, sit that thing on a tripod, get you a something. That's at bare minimum. But again, that's if you just need a quick headshot and you just want something quick. But hire a brand photographer to tell your brand story through photographs, the same way you're going to do for your clients. It makes a huge difference. It makes your website is on brand. Likely, if you haven't been branded, your brand colors will be in your clothes. So it all makes it just for a really cohesive look and feel to your website. So that'll probably be my first thing is go get a brand photographer. And then after that will definitely be go get branded if you have not. Yes, the Etsy logos are really cute, or you got someone off of Fiverr. They made you some graphic-y logo with a camera and a heart, and it's super cute. But it I promise you, it really dates you in a sense that it lets everyone know that you're a newbie. Because if you think about some of the great photographers that we look up to, their name, most of them is just in a serif font. It literally just says their name, serif font, in a serif font, and that's it. It's no cameras, no flowers. There's no funky writing. It's literally just good old fashioned Times New Roman, and it just says their name. But it's a very timeless look to their brand. If you think about like Gucci and Louis Vuitton and all these, high end brands, it literally just says Louis Vuitton. There's nothing else on it.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's just like an L and a V. And
yes.
Like you see that and you're like, I know exactly what this is.
I know exactly what that is. Yeah, there's no circles and hearts and and again, they're really cute. You can accent them on your website if you want to. But some of the best brands that I've seen have been very clear and concise. A lot of times, even on mine, it just says mine uses sans serif, but it says Octavia Lease Designs, all lowercase because I typically write in all lowercase. So it just falls in line with me. But it's simple, and I could put different colors on it. It doesn't go anywhere. It's just simple. It goes everywhere. Like it's timeless. It will forever be super easy.
Yeah. And for those of you who are listening and thinking like, well, I'm not a Louis Vuitton, I'm not a Gucci. Yes. I'm not going to be like a Nike or Coca-Cola or something where I'm just going to put my logo out there or my name and people recognize it. Like people will recognize if you have the same branding. It might take some time, a couple years or something, but they're going to recognize you and they're going to see that, and they may be seeing all of their friends hiring you, and then they're like, I've seen that name before.
I've seen that before. Yeah. Like even and that's anybody. Think about Keller Williams, right? It's just a regular name. It just says Keller Williams, but everyone knows it now. If I see Keller Williams, I'm not thinking, oh, this is first thing I'm thinking is real estate. But you've seen it enough to know that, hey, this is real estate. And again, there's no like funky house. There's no grass or fence, trying to make it all cute. And like I said, I get it. It's really cute, but it's just not the place for your logo because, again, you don't want to have to constantly get rebranded every year, every 2 years when the trends change.
Yes. Yeah. And that is something that we like to do is get rebranded every 3 years or so. And just like, well, I'm kind of feeling, stuck in my, in my work. I'm going to rebrand and I'm going to get a whole new color palette and, hire someone or get an Etsy template and do all that. Cause there are so many, if you have like that circle with the super scripty font that you can barely read that says your name across there, and then just photography and like a sans serif. It's like every single one looks exactly the same.
Every single, I can tell.
I also did that.
Yes, that's what I said. We all start.
We've
somewhere.
All been there.
We all start somewhere. We don't know, and I think that's the biggest thing. Is a lot of times we don't know. That's why we're here on this podcast, and that's why I always encourage people to continue your education, just in the industry, as much as possible, because you don't know what you don't know, and you can miss a lot of those hiccups and bumps in the road if you just invest in yourself and listen to those who have already been there, done that. You can avoid a lot of things. I think that's another thing. But like I said, the things I would tell people to do, like right off top, go do those two things, because, and then that will give you, so when you're doing your website, that'll give you some direction, because
Yes.
especially once you get branded, it'll give you direction. It'll, they'll tell you how, you're feeling and all these things. And so when you're choosing a template or choosing a designer, the field that you're going for, and you will find someone that, can help you bring that to life. That,
Mm.
and that's a thing. A lot of times we do things out of order, because again, we don't know what we don't know. And
Right.
so first thing, when I hear people, this is so huge. I hear people, they start a business. Oh, I got to get a logo. You don't need a logo. You need to be branded. That is a huge difference. Yes, you can go get a logo, but there's no meaning. There's no thought process behind it. You need to invest in good branding. There is a huge difference.
Yeah. I don't know what I clicked on or did or searched for on Instagram, but I get hit with these ads all the time for like the quick, $5 logo,
Yes.
and it's just like you can get your own in like a
Hmm.
nice script font. And I'm like,
Yes.
I don't want this. This
No.
looks like everyone.
Yes.
And it I think that's, I don't know, it's just like really important, like what you said, like you don't know what you don't know, and like we all start somewhere, we all go through that,
Hmm.
and even if like you're starting off and you do go get that $50 Etsy logo, and you have that, once you go through the whole branding process and work with a designer,
Hmm.
that's going out the window. There's no way that you're
Yeah.
holding on to that. So now
No.
your brand has changed, and now your logo has changed and everything. So kind of
Hmm.
like, because I'm like trying to put myself in the shoes of someone maybe in like the first year or
Hmm.
three of business, of just like, being scrappy, trying to make it by, paying the bills, all that. It was like, I don't have thousands of dollars to spend on a brand photographer, on a brand
Hmm.
designer, and all that. Like, do like what you're doing, Octavia, with like for your
Hmm.
45th celebration, of
Yep.
just like, here, I'm just going to put a
Safe.
couple hundred
Yep.
dollars over here because I'm having a really heavy month right now and I've got so many gigs. I can put away a few $100
Hmm.
and then just like watch that grow. And it might take you a couple of years to get to where you can like do
Yeah.
the whole brand session. But yeah, once you're branded, like
It,
business
it makes
just
a difference. It
skyrockets. It
does.
is insane.
Listen, it makes such a difference. Even with that, there are a lot of brand designers, because we as people that, I mean, just like with photographers, right? We as people who have high ticket items, but we know it's going to serve you. A lot of
Mm.
brand designers or web designers offer payment plans that will suit you. So
Mm-hmm.
don't think that, oh, I need to have, 5 grand right off top. You'll be surprised that just the same way we as photographers will say, hey, let me just, you can pay a retainer, and this will, make sure that you can get on my calendar. And as we get closer to, say, if you're like, hey, I need 12 months, I know web designers, I don't do it, because that's just not where I'm at in life.
Yeah.
But there are but I will go up to 6 payments for someone if I have
Yeah.
to. Like if I'm talking to them and I can hear that passion in their voice, and they just need someone to give them a chance to make it here. And I'm like, you know what? I typically do 2 payments. Let's do 4. Let's do 6. Because at the end of the day, my biggest thing is watching you succeed and helping you get to the next level. And I've been there. I've had years where I have literally had a year where I made only 30 grand.
Mm-hmm.
That is not enough to take care of my household. But I had to figure it out all year. It was just like a bad year
Yeah.
for whatever reason. The next year, within the first quarter, I made half of what I made the year before, just in the first quarter.
Yeah.
So we've all been there. But, a closed mouth don't get fed. A lot of us has already heard that term. So if you don't ask or you don't reach out, you don't know what the possibilities are. And you will find some people that are really great designers, but maybe they need some new brand images. So then you could be like, hey, let's do a trade-off, because I likely the price may be the same or close enough to it that, hey, we can do this trade-off.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid that, oh, I don't have the money, that the possibility for you to have these things aren't there. You just have to go look, and you may get some no's, but all you need is one yes. All you need is one person say, hey, yes, I want to help you. And that's all you need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the great thing about being entrepreneurs is that we can barter like that. And we
Yes.
can say like, "Hey, I have this that
Mm-hmm.
holds this value. you have
Mm-hmm.
this that also holds that value, or maybe is twice the value of what I
Yeah,
have. Can we barter? Can we make a deal?
exactly.
And something,
Yep.
and yeah, there are definitely going to be people that say no, and they're just
Yeah.
like, no, no,
Yeah.
that's not for me. And others are like, oh, 100%, because that's what they need at that time
Mm-hmm.
too.
Yep. And,
So yeah,
and here's the thing, like I'm bartering with someone for my son's senior session.
yeah,
Like she was like, "Hey, I need some website updates," and I was like, "Hey, my kid needs senior photos." Boom, it's even swap no swindle. Like we've all, everybody comes out great. She doesn't have to update her website. Now I have some senior photos for my kid.
yeah.
So you just have to, again, as entrepreneurs, we've all been there, and a lot of us we understand, and we're here for you.
Hmm. Oh yeah, I just recently bartered with a new business here in town,
Mm-hmm.
and I was doing their, I did a brand session for them, and then they were going to hire me to photograph a birthday party, and I was like,
Mm,
my son's birthday is coming up in a month. Could we
yes.
just have his party here, and then I'll take photos, and you can use
Yeah.
those photos? And they're like, 100%, yeah, that'd be great.
Yes. Yeah.
And it was great, and we had the best time, and they
Mm-hmm.
got some really great photos for marketing.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, it's all, like you said, you don't know. The answer is always no if you never
Yes.
ask.
If you
So
never ask,
yeah.
I mean, I have even bartered with a dentist office. I didn't, when I first started, I didn't have insurance. I didn't have medical insurance yet, but I
Hmm.
needed to go get my teeth done. So I was like, so I inquired with this dentist because I had a really bad pain. And so I went in to get the pain looked at, and he was like, oh, you need a root canal. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, you know what? I was on your website earlier, and it was really hard to navigate. And so we got to talking, and I got my root canal, and they got a new website.
Yeah.
So, but now I need another root canal on the other side. So now and I knew that when I went in, I had to decide which one was worse, and this one was worse than the other.
Right.
So I need another root canal on the other side. So I'm like, so now I'm like, do
Gotta
I
find a
find
new
another
dentist.
dentist? Yeah, I got to find a new dentist. But the thing is, it worked out really great because now I don't have a hole in my tooth,
Yeah.
and
And they have a better performing
and they have
website.
a better performing website. And like I made some really great connections there that end up turning into some family sessions. Like we just you just meet people. I remember when I first like the dentist, before I even got to the root canal dentist, the first dentist I went to, he needed headshots for his office. He had just opened his office. I was just going to him because he was new, and I was like, oh, I'm sure his prices are cheap, and I needed a cleaning.
Hmm.
Clearly I have a thing for dental
Yeah.
offices. I maybe need to tap into that more, but you just never know. I mean, like I said, if you need some dental work done, find like a new dentist that just open up. Like, hey, I'll do some headshots for you guys.
Oh
A
yeah.
clean. I mean, it works out.
Yeah, that's what I did when I moved here. So my wife and I moved. We used to live in Austin, and we moved
Mm-hmm.
here to College Station like 8 years ago. And
Mm-hmm.
I just looked for the wedding venues that looked new. And there was
Yes.
one that had like 2 reviews on Google, and I was like, "You're probably new or terrible." And we'll see. And yeah, they had just opened up like 3 months before, so I
Mm-hmm.
offered them headshots and offered to do like uh, I did like a free engagement session day where
Mm-hmm.
couples could just come out and get a handful of photos,
Yeah.
but then the venue got to use all of those photos,
Mm-hmm.
and then that made that connection, and that they fed me weddings for years
Yeah.
because they were just like so grateful that they were able to use that marketing material and
Mm-hmm.
also get their name out, and like that whole like we scratched each other's backs because I was new and I didn't know anyone,
Yeah.
and then I had that connection. So yeah,
Yeah.
there's always I love that we've gone this
Yeah. We've
direction
got.
with
Look, we've got. Yeah.
yeah, like a whole different topic, but I
Hey,
love
hey,
it.
listen,
It's so
because you
good.
have to use what you got to get what you want. I heard that on a movie one
Yep.
time. I will not say the name of the movie, but you got to work what you got to get what you want.
Yep.
That's a real thing. And I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about getting your website to the next level, and you know that you need to get it done. And that's one of those tasks that you're like, oh, I'll do it, next month, and then I'll do it next quarter, and then
Hmm.
here we are a year later, and you're right in the exact same place. I tell you, I see this a lot. I remember when I first started, and my prices were significantly cheaper then. And I had a couple people that were like, "Oh no, this is outside of our budget." I was like, "Okay," And periodically, this might be petty of me. I go to those people's website just to see if they made any progress. I'm also like a super cheerleader, so I'm always cheering them on, and they are
Right.
still in the exact same spot. Like the website still is not there. It's not a thing. And I'm just like, you're literally not making any money organically, because again, so often, and we know this happened last week, social media went down for an
Mhm.
hour or so, or however long it was. Both of them went down. I think this is one of the first times that this has happened. Usually it's one or the other, never
Yeah.
both at the same time. So had that been, maybe a whole day or a week or a month, or maybe Mark Zuckerberg woke up and said, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore, and just press the delete button.
Yeah.
What's going to happen to your business? Like,
I
are
have
you
all
getting
the power and I can shut this
I
down.
literally, yes. And if he did that, how many businesses would literally go out of business almost instantly?
Yes.
So many people would go out of business. So many. Or what's going to happen is they'll try to find money to get a website or just make something out of nothing. And it's not going to be helpful. You want to be above the fray. You want to get there and stake your stick thingy in the ground of Google. And so you already have a foot in the door, because MySpace disappeared. A lot of other things have disappeared over time.
Mm-hmm.
So don't say that, oh, these are too powerful to disappear. All it takes is something else to come out and replace it. Yep. Who would have ever thought cassette tapes and CDs were going to go somewhere, or DVDs?
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah, we just recently, we still have a DVD player in the minivan for the kids.
Yes.
And we were at Goodwill the other day and I bought 2 DVDs and the person ringing it up was like, I can't believe people still buy DVDs. I was like, we actually have a DVD player, but at home, everyththing is, Disney Plus or Hulu or Netflix or whatever. We can stream whatever we want. Mm-hmm. But like if you had said that 15 years ago,
we'd have thought you were crazy.
You're like, no way.
Yeah.
No way people are going to be watching TV shows on our phones. That's insane.
That sounds, first of all, we barely had phones then. If you think about it, I was telling somebody, I said, it wasn't until, I don't think first cell phone I had was Motorola, and it was prepaid. And then we had like Metro PCS came out here, but we could only go within like a 20-mile radius. You couldn't go anywhere with the phone. And then eventually, of course, I got AT&T, and but this was like this was college. Mm-hmm. This was like my college. So this wasn't that long ago that cell phones weren't mainstream.
No.
So, we have to think about, like, times do change, and we don't know which direction it's going to change in, but we do know, I can almost guarantee you, Google will be around for probably longer than we will be. Yes. And so if you have your place on the World Wide Web, you can make coins. Like I tell people all the time, you don't want crickets and cobwebs in your business. You want coins, actual coins, clinking and stuff. So
yes, yeah. And even if you have like a great social media presence, how, like, if someone clicks from your Instagram and then goes to your website and there's like a huge disconnect, and they can tell like this hasn't been updated in a while, or like there's like broken links, and it's not the same vibe, and all of that. It dilutes your brand, and they're just like it's that they're uneasy again. And uneasy people don't want to spend money with you.
No, they don't. And that's a huge thing. I don't think people realize. Making sure, like I said, that cohesive client experience, the client experience, the user experience, making sure that it's cohesive across the board. So they should be on your Instagram, and your Instagram should be seen on your website. They should get the same vibe. And from there, even when they go to your CRM and, they've decided to book with you, they should still get that same client experience. Like I said, having the buttons the same, they see the same kind of pictures, the font, the brand is all cohesive across the board. It makes a difference.
It does. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, Octavia, this has been so good. This has been like I said at the beginning, I knew this was going to be like jam-packed.
Yes.
And it was. You just brought so much today. So thank you for being on the show. Before we kind of like wrap up and you can let people know where you are, there's part of the show that I like to do where we talk about what we're loving this week. And it can be literally anything, a new movie, TV show, or a book or food, or what are you loving this week?
I am loving, are you ready? Teeling whiskey, single grain. There's single grain whiskey. I'm a huge bourbon connoisseur. So I go to a lot of different tastings here in Atlanta. last week I went to this tasting at this local like it's like a real upscale bar. Went to this
Yeah.
tasting. You know, you got to like pay to go, right? Went to this tasting. Teeling was there. They had a representative, and we tried all these one. The single grain. Oh my
Hmm.
god! So, needless to
Okay.
say, like I've never actually purchased anything after leaving a tasting. I immediately went to the package store and bought a bottle. It was so good, but now I don't want to open it because it was
Right.
so good. But it's an Irish whiskey, and
Huh.
I'm part Irish, so I feel like it was okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure they chose Irish for St. Patrick's Day for this month, but
Oh,
once a
probably.
month they do this, and so that's what I'm really loving now. So I've actually since I went to that tasting, I've done a couple of deep dives into Google, learning more about Teeling and Irish whiskey, and I've learned so much. So that's what I'm really loving right now is learning
Nice.
about distilleries over in Ireland and what is it, Dublin, and yeah,
That's really cool. Okay, I'm gonna
yeah,
have to add that to my list because I will
yes,
go through. I'll just get a bottle of whiskey and I'll have a little bit
yes.
here and
Oh
there.
yeah,
You know, it's a great. If you're editing
listen.
some photos and
They
you got the
gave us
flask and
these. Yeah,
everything.
so that yeah, this was like
That's
a
like a
little.
nice little like personal size flask too.
I know this was something that they gave us at the tasting. So I got two of them, but anyways,
Nice.
so there's nothing in here. Don't worry. But it's just really pretty, and so yes, Teeling whiskey. It was
Yeah.
the single grain. I'm telling you, you will.
Okay.
I don't know what kind of whiskey drinker you are, but it was so smooth, and so like I felt like I was drinking a Coca-Cola. It was so good. I mean,
Yeah.
I
I
can't even
do.
explain it.
I like a smooth whiskey. I
Yeah,
usually, if I'm drinking whiskey, it's either just neat, just
yeah,
itself, or just on the rocks. Just
yeah,
like
yeah.
especially during the summer, I need something cold.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
Something cold. Yeah.
but yeah, I recently photographed a wedding, and then at the end of the night, they had like handles of liquor left over,
Oh
and they're
wow.
like, take whatever you want. And he
Yes.
just grabbed a handle of Makers and just was
Yeah.
like, "You like whiskey, right?" And I was like, "I
Yes.
do."
I do.
And
Yeah.
yeah, so that's been great. And like
Yeah.
the like lower shelf whiskey, we like
Yeah.
to take like a shot if we're starting to get sick, just kind of burn the
Yes.
stuff out of our throats. It's great.
Yes. Yes. I
But
would
yeah,
probably for
I'm gonna
that
have
one.
to
I'd
get.
probably do. Teeling also they had
Mm,
what was it? They had a malt. The malt will definitely get your throat burning and itching. They had a smoky one that I'm not really a smoky whiskey drinker, but it was
mm,
okay. And they had the small batch. No, I'm sorry, it was a single batch, and it was okay. But I'm telling you that single grain, it just did
mm.
something else to me. It was good.
Okay.
So that's what I'm loving right now.
I've been needing to go get a new bottle, so I think I'm gonna
Yes.
try that out, and I will.
Yes, try it.
I'll
Let me
send
know.
you a photo of me with a
Yes.
little glass.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. Well, cool. Let's see. What am I loving this week? I am loving. There's a local place called Jesse's Tacos, and they
Ooh.
make the best breakfast tacos. I get
Mm.
like the chorizo potato that's just like they
Oh.
fry the potatoes and chorizo together, and it's
Yes.
just is the best. It just tastes so good, and
Yeah.
everyone's super friendly too,
Yeah.
which is great user experience
Yes.
going there. So it's like way on the other side of town, and
Mhm.
I've had a couple meetings or appointments over on that side of town recently.
Mhm.
So I was like, I'm gonna swing by and get some tacos. So that's what I'm
Yes.
loving this week. I've been able to have some Jesse's. Uh,
Yes.
but okay, sweet.
Awesome.
Octavia, where can people find you? Where can they follow along? And just say hey.
Yes. You can always find me at my website at octavialeasedesigns.com. But if you want to be my like Insta friend or social media friend, which is where I spend a lot of my time, I am in my stories almost 75% of the day. So
Mm.
you can find me on Instagram at Octavia Lease Designs, and that's typically where I'm at. I'll have I'm actually having a podcast launching here in about 2 weeks.
Oh,
Yeah, it's called
nice.
Success on Paper. Yeah, Success on Paper
Okay.
podcast. So that'll be coming out in 2 weeks. I'm recording my trailer and all that good stuff on Wednesday, so I'm excited.
Amazing.
But yeah, you
Okay.
can find me there. Yeah.
Sweet. Well, yeah, I'll have links to your podcast too, because
Yes.
when this comes out to everyone else, in the future, present time
Yes.
space continuum that we're in right now, you will have
Yeah, it'll be
already
up and
had
running.
a few episodes out. So
Yes.
awesome. Well, cool.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I will have links to all that in the show notes for everyone, so y'all can go follow Octavia.
Yes.
And but yeah, thank you so much for being on the show. I really enjoyed our conversation this evening.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Wisdom in the Tangents podcast. As always, you can check out all the show notes in the description right here. Just scroll down wherever you're listening to this, or if you're watching on YouTube, I guess also scroll down. That's where the description is there too. And we've got links to all the things. Be sure to go follow Octavia at Octavia Elise Designs on Instagram. You can follow the show at wit.pod, WITT.pod. And you can follow me at allheartphoto on Instagram and now on TikTok for both myself and the podcast. Tune in next week. Make sure that you're subscribed so that these podcasts just keep sliding right in. I was going to say into your DMs. That's not where these slide into. Where are these sliding into? Your earphones. Wow, if it sounds so old. I'm not that old, I promise. Straight into your cassette player. Subscribe to the show. Next week, I have Nathan Holritz back on the show. You know him from the Bokeh podcast. You know him from Photographer's Edit, from the Newbie Photographer podcast. He does a lot of things, and we're talking about his new app called Chizo, and it just untapped markets. So it was a really great conversation. So tune in next week for that. And yeah, until then, have a great week. Bye, y'all.